Hello and welcome. My name is Trismegistus and this is Factorio. This is episode 10 of my Let's Just Play Factorio series, where I am literally just playing Factorio. We got quite a lot done in the last episode. We laid out a big new sort of solar array. Well, might be a bit of an exaggeration to call it a solar array. It's a load of solar panels. So we've made laser turrets. Now the recipe requires batteries, so we can build them soon as well. So I'm just disconnecting this here so that I've got a bit of space. So it's often best to have a check on your map. When you've done something like that, take a power line out. Just make sure that what you think it's connected to still has power. Yeah. So what I want to do is set up a system that allows me to crack heavy oil and light oil into petroleum, basically. Now, we have a recipe, don't we? Is it lube? Have we got lube? I don't think I've actually researched lube, have I? No. So we could do that. The thing is, we don't really need it in anything. I mean, you use it in like high-speed belts, but we're not even producing fast belts. So that's a one buff for the turrets. Should I do lube? You need it for electric engines, don't you? So eventually we will need it. So it is worth doing. And it's not all that expensive anyway. So we might as well do that. The system I want to put together is sort of an automated system. It will use green wires and pumps. Because what I want to have is the potential. I don't know that I'll take the lines round there. But if we have some output lines here, you see, one of which is like, light oil, and then, be heavy oil, so that if I need them there, they're available and I can take those pipes wherever I want to go. But what we're actually going to do, as I say, is put some tanks down and use these tanks to push the appropriate liquid into a cracking set. So we want to leave a little bit of space, so 1, 2, 3. Just put that there for a moment, and then put that there just in case. And then we want, so the idea being that lubricant comes in, heavy oil rather, comes into this tank. And light oil comes into, is that going to be an appropriate distance? Yeah, that'll work, I think. Light oil comes into this tank, right? And what we do then is we set up some pumps. Okay. Okay, and we won't connect them for the moment, but what we want to do with these pumps is set different conditions on them. What they do is they then push the fluid up into this sort of an array of chemical plants. Right? That will do the cracking for us. So this one needs to crack heavy to light, and this one needs to crack light to petroleum. Okay. Okay, so the idea, as I say, is we will connect. I need some more wires. Connect these pumps up, right, to the tank, and these to the tank. Okay, and the condition we set on the pump, because by connecting them they join, a little circuit network, and it says that if heavy oil, where is heavy oil? There it is greater than, say, 1,000. Okay, then it will turn on. Okay, and this one, we don't have to actually set a condition on this one, but we will have this. If heavy oil is greater than 500. So there's always a little tiny bit in the tank in case we need to come over here and emergency siphon out that with a normal pump. Okay, so there's always a little bit in there. So basically, the heavy oil is being produced and we'll fill up this tank, and if it goes above 500, and as you can see at the moment it's got 1.6 thousand, so 1,600 of 25,000, so that's why I've used thousands. If this is above 500, then it pumps heavy oil down here. Okay. If it's above 1,000, so both of those can be true, it can be above 1,000 and above 500, then it will pump stuff up here. But what it means is that when it gets above 1,000, it will always be trying to pump stuff away into the cracking system, and that means you don't get the backup, because at the moment, well, it's not, it's light oil. No, is it? No petroleum? Oh, well, petroleum's full. You get this effect that unless you're using up all the fluids, right, then your whole system will grind to a halt. Okay, so the pumps need to be powered, obviously. Let's put that there to get both of them. I'll put a light down as well, just to prove a point. And then we want to pump it out of there, and that out of there. So you can work out the exact ratios of things. I normally just stick a couple on. Really, I don't tend to bother with exact ratios. If it ends up that it's all backed up, then I come and stick some more on, basically. So that's there, there. Okay, so same deal here. This one we will turn on if light is above 1,000. Whoops, 10,000 now. And this one we would turn on if light is above 500. Now, as I said in a previous episode, you could set that to anything. It's just that the automatic output, you know, the read contents, will output light because there's light in it. Yeah. So if you put it to something else, you would actually have to have a separate logic system that converts the light into something else. So you get that with a lot of the storage ones. They'll tell you what's in them, but they won't do any sort of fancy logic with it. Oh, that's in the wrong place, isn't it, really? So what we want to do with this is obviously pump it into this system. Yeah. So what this is doing is then saying, right, well, we've converted that all to light, or you know what we've been sent into light. Now let's put it into the light tank, and if that one fills up, then we'll send it up here and convert it to petroleum. Okay, the reason this isn't functioning yet is because of the water. I need water to go up here as well. So yeah, so those are active now because they've got water and they're doing the cracking. As you can see, they're taking water and heavy oil and converting it to light oil, and this is taking water and light oil and converting it to petroleum. So the outputs for these, I haven't actually connected all the outputs up here, have I? Shall I go and I'll go and get some more pipes. Let's hook these up. Should we do explosives? So that was the other thing we need to do, because we need cliff explosives, don't we? Pumps are quite a good thing for putting logic in, as it were. Works quite well. The system seems to have backed up mainly because of petroleum. We've got sort of too much petroleum going on. I need lube for electric engines, or I will eventually. So we can have our thing there, we can put it into a tank. Bing, bong, bing. So let's do cliff explosives then. So that'll produce a tank of lube, and when we eventually need it, we can hook it up through some spaghetti madness. What else do we want to do? What we could do is start making some rocket fuel, or certainly some solid fuel. Eventually this light oil is going to back up, basically. We're not using it for anything particularly. Especially not, because you used to be able to use it for flamethrower ammo. So what we can do, we can just convert a load of this to, or some of it, have a slow conversion thing going on. Anyway, converting it to solid fuel. It's the best one to use for, I've explained this before, it's the best one to use for solid fuel. You can fuel your base on that. You can, and we might well use it for trains. I might come and get some of it for trains maybe, because it gives boosts. It's more sort of energy efficient and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, as I say, at the moment we don't really have particular use for it, so we don't really want it to back up. I mean, it's the petroleum that's our problem at the moment. But that's because we're not making the things from petroleum that we can. As noted, I'm trying to avoid sort of just blasting through the research. That's as noted in a previous episode, because as I say, I think that's one of the things where people get sort of overwhelmed and then feel stuck. Well, what do I research next? So if you sort of break it down by task, and as you see, we've been creating defences for ourselves, so if the biters do come, we should have some protection going on. And I've also shown that the biters aren't sort of to be afraid of, unless you've set it as a death world or something like that. But if you've normal settings, they don't come swamp you as soon as you move, sort of thing. As long as you know the rules about them reacting to pollution and things like that. So there's 177,000 left in that, so we've used up sort of 3/4 of our iron. Now we do have this little patch up here that we can easily run some belts down, and in fact that might not be a bad idea, and that gets us iron rather than having to do a train, because it's not a very useful place to put a train. That. What I'm thinking is we set up some a mini explosives production so that I can make some cliff explosives so that we've got them to clear with. But we're going to sort of jerry-rig it together a bit, I think. Where's a good place to do it? Do I have to do it in a lab? Yeah, I have to do it in a chemical plant. But I can do it here, you see. Or maybe here or something. What works best? So I can just simply tap this off. Oh, got in the wrong place. Oops. So yeah, we put that in there. What else? I needed water, didn't it? So connect that up. This is explosives, and this all needs power. And we put coal in there. And a box of explosives here, which let's do a good chunk of explosives. So we'll need coal coming down there. So if I put my jobs there, and then do wrong place, and we want this little trick again. Oh no, it's that one, isn't it? That's fine. Oops. Yeah, there we go. So that will just trickle out some explosives for us, and I can go and manually pick that up and some grenades, and then, well, actually I could put an assembler here, couldn't I? Because I think you make these in assemblers, don't you? Yeah, and with empty barrels. So if we bring some steel down from somewhere. So this will make a bunch of. It only wants one grenade, doesn't it? But it's 10 explosives, so it is quite sort of slow. Okay, so that's that done. That gives us some cliff explosives to make some space, both for at the end of our bus and for when we do trains. Is there anything else I want to make right now? Because we did research modules. And we should make modules because they're a good buff. But they are quite resource intensive, as you can see there. So we have this problem with the accumulators, so we could do a whole new solar field. Again, that would be quite resource intensive, given our slight lack of iron. There's nothing else we sort of need to build, is there? I'm just thinking if we set some beacon production up. Actually, if I grab these cliff explosives that I've made, and just sort of show you how they work. So you get this, but you can't throw them at anything that doesn't require them, and they won't do any damage to anything else. They're not like normal explosives. So what you do is you throw them at a cliff and they'll blow up a cliff. But so you can stand as close to them as you want. They do no damage to you whatsoever. So there you go, you see? So, if I want to make some modules, are modules one of the modules used in one of the science packs? Let's make purple. So prod modules are in the prod packs. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to make modules up here, because we only want a small scale production. We've got plastic over here, haven't we? So I could siphon the plastic over. I'm just wondering, if I move this out of the way, does that make my life a lot easier? In that I can stick these together and just have a split here. That's a bit close to that, isn't it? And that, no, don't want to do that because that pops that up. No, so actually I want to be probably over here and then split there. The point being, I can now take plastic wherever I want to take it. Why do I want to take it? Let's put it over. So we've got that. So if we make some prod mods here, yes, we're going to need to fill them with iron, copper, and plastic. They're quite slow, aren't they? 15 seconds. So we want maybe 5 of them. Does speed take the same? Oh, no. These take... Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. What they require is red and green circuits, and of course red and green circuits require plastic. That was dumb of me. Because what I'm thinking is we put, basically, prods on one side and speeds on the other. And then, oops. And then when it comes time to use the prods, I can just take them, take them over to purple science. If I'm doing purple science over here. And I'm going to have to, aren't I? Because I need to do bots at some point. Yeah, but we just use then filter inserters to grab them from the belt, is my theory. I'm going to limit these chests. I think they stack to 50, but eventually we'll just let these run, basically. But as noted, we're sort of not low on resources, but we need to be mindful of what we've got until we've set our train lines up. Oh, you can put prod modules in. Okay. We don't want both, though, because what a prod module does is it increases productivity by 4%, but slows it down by 15%. So what I generally do at this stage is put one of each in, because a speed module increases speed by 20%. Yeah. So what's happening is with these prod modules is every time we craft an item, we get sort of a free bit of a new item. Now, obviously, this bar is not going up very quick. Yeah. And it's quite slow, partly because the machine is slow, but you're getting over the long term, particularly in machines like this that are producing these intermediate low-level parts, you're getting quite a lot of free stuff. And I say, even at this stage when you're using level 1 modules, it's worth doing, And even if you decide not to put in prod modules, speed modules are worth having. They speed up, particularly something like this, where they're quite slow to craft. It's sort of worth having them. So yeah, it gives us a bit of free stuff, basically. Yeah, we can't really support this many with how hungry for... because it needs 5 every 15 seconds. And one machine, I mean, I've obviously modified it, but it takes 6 seconds each to craft. So they're slightly slower, aren't they? In that one machine can support 1, so I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, so I would need more, really. So yeah, we'll let that cook a while. The other thing we could make is laser turrets, isn't it? And we should get that going, really. So we've got steel, batteries and electric circuits. So I've got batteries here and steel there. I think I'm going to just spaghetti my way into producing these, really. Okay, so that's that. So what we can do to just finish off the episode is go and lay down a bunch more power things. I need more accumulators than I do panels. Am I gonna... because now I've got cliff explosives, I can expand in this direction quite easily. Okay, that's mining productivity. Probably want to start on electric engines because that unlocks quite a few things. And it's not actually that expensive, so probably get it done. These are flashing red basically because it's night time, and essentially the accumulators won't charge other accumulators. They just output power to things that use power at scale. This is our accumulator charge draining. So I was just going to check how close we are. So steam engines have not kicked in there, but they do there. We do probably want even more. It's a little difficult to tell just at the moment because, as I say, if you put them down, like I have during the night and day, of course they didn't actually have any charge in them. And it's not surprising if because they got really low. Effectively, the steam engines are powering up in order to charge these accumulators. And you can actually see there. You see the animation is flicking between powering up and powering down. And you can actually see the energy going 484, 585, 486, and that's as they go up the 5, 10, that past that threshold that we set. We'll also do advanced circuits, and this will really open the tech tree. Might even be able to get our first set of legs. How expensive is that? Is it worth me doing that this episode? Well, that's quite expensive. No, is the answer to that question. Let's pick some of these up. No, still got loads on that patch. You see, yeah, we're really eating into this patch now because we're just producing so much stuff that it's demanding. It was 177 before. It's 153 now. So in 20 minutes we used 20,000 iron ore. So yeah, so we need to run a belt down from up there. Is that worth doing now, or trying to do now? Probably run 2 down. You can actually basically play the game like this. You don't, in a sense, need trains. It's just that if you start to think about it, the amount of resources you're putting into putting all these belts down compared to having a train, it's a lot more sort of efficient to use trains over any sort of significant distance. You can also get much higher throughput from trains. And if you ramp up the richness of the resources at the beginning, you can easily get patches with several million in your starting area, and several million is enough to launch a rocket with. Okay, so we got this ore coming down. Didn't really need 2 belts by the looks of things, really. So what I might do is what? If I have one of them come down and basically side load onto there, and the other one, perhaps if how can I do this? I could possibly bring it down here and sort of feed it into this spare lane. Let's embrace the spaghetti and go all over the shop with this. So we're getting plenty in now, and it's looking like this is pretty much saturating. Copper isn't sort of 100% saturated. Actually, let's take out this cliff and pop these in here. And this is then the copper patch, sort of fully tapped, as it were. Still only 1 line of copper. But as I showed before, it'll slowly sort of eat up the patch, mostly from the back. So now let's have a look at our power demand. What are we doing? So it's still kicking in. And this is taking a long time to charge up all the accumulators. So yeah, we do want even more power. Well, it's not too surprising because we are producing a lot of stuff. So how many have we got now? So I could take another 100 of them quite easily, and another 100 of them. So I tell you, you can actually burn trees down, but it's kind of ineffective. So what happened actually? Oops, no. You can create fire breaks as well with your shotgun and stuff. So the trees burn. Whoops, I'm too close to that. Let's have a fish. Have I got the fish? Yeah, I got a fish. Yeah, so basically, that tree, those trees burnt down, but it left one behind, you see. Now when you can still chop it. So that's the problem, as it were, with burning the trees out. You'd end up with a load of stumps left, which you've got to clear up anyway. So you might as well grade them or nuke them, or whatever your preference is. Yeah, so call that an episode. Next time I will hopefully remember to put these solar panels in and accumulators and stuff to hopefully better match our power needs. But yeah, so next time we will start with doing some power, and then I will start to put some rail in. But yeah, that's for next time. So if you've been watching, I hope you've enjoyed it, and you might consider coming back for another one. I've been Trismegistus. This has been Factorio. Thanks for watching. Cheers.